Snow fell softly on the city, but for Lucas Reed, 35, the holiday lights only deepened his isolation. At midnight on Christmas Eve, he stood outside a crowded cafe, watching families laugh through frosted windows. His rugged jaw and sharp green eyes usually turned heads, but tonight, his shoulders slumped under the weight of a past he couldn't escape. Lucas had spent years dodging Christmas, haunted by a childhood of broken promises and a family torn apart by betrayal. He preferred the noise of bars, where fleeting laughs drowned out his loneliness. But this year, his best friend, Sam, had ditched their usual plans for a family gathering, leaving Lucas adrift. As he turned to leave, a stranger's voice cut through the cold, "You look like you've lost more than your way." Lucas spun around to see a woman with warm hazel eyes and a worn scarf, holding a steaming cup of cocoa. Her name was Mia, and her simple words sparked a journey he never expected. Lucas hesitated, his breath visible in the frigid air. "Just not big on holidays," he muttered, forcing a smile. Mia tilted her head, her gaze steady. "Sometimes the hardest nights lead to the best mornings." Her words, gentle but direct, unsettled him. They talked, and Lucas learned Mia was a baker, alone this Christmas after years of guarding her heart. She didn't pry, but her quiet kindness felt like a lifeline. As the cafe closed, Mia offered, "I'm baking tomorrow, just a small dinner. If you're free, come by." She handed him a business card with her address scribbled on the back. Lucas stared at it, his heart racing. Could he step into the unknown, or would fear keep him tethered to his solitary life? Back in his cramped apartment, Lucas tossed the card onto the counter. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the hum of the city outside. A dusty photo frame sat on a shelf, him at 8, grinning with his older brother, Nate, and their parents, before everything fell apart. Lucas's childhood Christmases were marred by his father's drinking and his mother's tears. The worst was when he was 12, when his father left on Christmas Eve, promising to return but never did. His mother tried to keep the family together, but Nate grew distant, and Lucas learned to rely on himself. He built a life of surface-level fun, bars, friends, no strings attached, to avoid the pain of loss. His mother's calls went unanswered, her invitations to holiday dinners ignored. Mia's card sat like a challenge. Lucas poured a whiskey, his mind racing. Why had her words hit so hard? He didn't know her, yet her warmth lingered. He thought of Sam, now building a life with his girlfriend, and his other friends, all caught up in their own holiday plans. Lucas's carefree routine suddenly felt like a cage. He picked up the card, 23, Oakwood Lane. It was in a quiet neighborhood, far from the city's chaos. He imagined Mia's dinner, simple but heartfelt, and felt a pull he couldn't ignore. By morning, he decided to go, if only to break the cycle. He swapped his leather jacket for a sweater, grabbed a bottle of wine as a gesture, and drove to Oakwood Lane, his stomach knotted with nerves. Oakwood Lane was a picture of holiday charm, with snow-covered lawns and twinkling lights. Number 23 was a cozy cottage with a red door and a porch adorned with garland. Lucas knocked, his heart pounding. Mia answered, her apron dusted with flour, her smile bright. "You made it," she said, ushering him inside. The air was thick with the scent of fresh bread and cinnamon. A scruffy terrier, Biscuit, yipped at his feet, and Lucas laughed, surprised. "No bakery cats?" he teased. Mia grinned. "Just Biscuit. He's my sous chef." The living room was warm, with a small Christmas tree and a fireplace crackling. A watercolor of a snowy forest hung on the wall, its details breathtaking. Mia led him to a dining table set for two, with a spread of homemade rolls, roasted chicken, and apple pie. "I don't do big holidays," she said, "but I love making things special." They sat, and Lucas felt a rare calm. Mia asked about his work. He was a photographer, always chasing the next shot, and shared her passion for baking. As they ate, Lucas opened up about his past, the betrayal, the Christmases spent alone. Mia listened, her eyes kind. "My sister raised me after our parents died," she said. "Holidays were hard, but she taught me to find joy in small things." Her honesty stirred something in Lucas. Maybe he could find joy, too, if he let himself try. Dinner stretched late, the conversation effortless. Lucas learned Mia painted the forest watercolor, a tribute to her sister's favorite place. She'd stopped painting after her sister's illness, focusing on her bakery to cope. Lucas shared how he'd used photography to escape, capturing moments without living them. It's safer that way, he admitted. Mia nodded. But it's empty, too. Her words echoed his fears. As they washed dishes, Biscuit napping nearby, Lucas felt a connection he hadn't known he craved. Mia suggested a walk to see the neighborhood's lights. They wandered through the snow, the glow of decorations softening the night. Lucas felt a spark of hope, a sense that this night could change him. Back at Mia's, she handed him a warm roll to take home. "You're not as alone as you think," she said. Her words lingered as he drove away, the card now a keepsake. He thought of Nate's last text, begging him to visit. Maybe it was time to face his family. The city lights felt different, like a promise rather than a taunt. Lucas knew he wasn't ready to fully let go of his past, but Mia's warmth had opened a door he couldn't ignore. The next morning, Lucas woke with resolve. Mia's kindness had shifted something in him. He called Nate, his voice unsteady. "I'm coming to Mom's tonight," he said. Nate's relief was audible. "Luke, that's amazing. We've been waiting for you." Lucas spent the day sorting through old photos, finding one of him and Nate building a snow fort. The memory warmed him, reminding him of the bond they'd once had. He drove to his mother's house, a modest bungalow in the suburbs. His mother, Sarah, greeted him with a tearful hug, her gray hair soft against his cheek. "You're home," she whispered. The house was alive with holiday spirit, lights twinkling, the smell of cookies baking. Nate, now a father, introduced Lucas to his kids, who tugged him to see their tree. Dinner was chaotic, with laughter and stories. Lucas shared a bit about Mia, her warmth sparking curiosity. Nate grinned. "She sounds like trouble, in a good way." Lucas laughed, feeling lighter. For the first time, Christmas didn't feel like a trap. He realized he'd been running from a family that still loved him, flaws and all. As he left, Sarah pressed a photo into his hand, him as a boy, smiling with her. "You're always welcome," she said. Lucas nodded, determined to rebuild. Over the next weeks, Lucas and Mia grew close. They met at her bakery, where she taught him to knead dough, their hands brushing in the flour. Lucas shared his photography, showing her shots of the city at dawn. Mia's eyes lit up, seeing the beauty he captured. They talked about their fears, Lucas's dread of betrayal, Mia's loss of her sister. "You can't control what happens," Mia said, "but you can choose how to live." Her words became his guide. Lucas started visiting his family more, playing with Nate's kids and helping Sarah garden. The bungalow became a refuge, where he and Mia painted, cooked, and laughed. Biscuit became their shadow, curling up between them. One evening, Mia showed Lucas a box of her sister's letters, filled with dreams of a bakery and a family. "She wanted me to live fully," Mia said. Lucas realized he was falling for her, her strength, her warmth. He invited her to meet his family, nervous but hopeful. Mia charmed them, baking cookies with the kids and sharing stories with Sarah. As they left, Nate whispered, "She's good for you." Lucas agreed. Mia wasn't just a friend, she was a partner in his journey to heal, a light in the darkness he'd carried too long. Spring bloomed, and Lucas's life felt alive. He and Mia were a team, their bond deepening. His photography took on new depth, capturing moments of joy rather than escape. Colleagues noticed his energy, teasing him about his mystery woman. Lucas didn't mind, he was proud of Mia. They planned a trip to the forest from her painting, a place of healing. They camped under the stars, sharing dreams. Lucas wanted a future with her, a life he'd never dared imagine. Back home, Nate gave him a keychain with a tiny camera charm. "For your new focus," he said, grinning. Lucas's family dinners became regular, filled with laughter and warmth. He found an old letter from his mother, apologizing for the past and promising love. It moved him, and he called her, thanking her for her patience. The call lifted a weight, freeing him to embrace the present. He realized his father's absence didn't define his family, their love did. With Mia's encouragement, Lucas started a photo project, capturing stories of redemption. It gave him purpose, a way to share the hope he'd found. By summer, Lucas and Mia were a couple, their lives entwined. They transformed the bungalow's garden, planting wildflowers and building a swing. Lucas moved in, his photos blending with Mia's paintings. They hosted a barbecue, inviting both families. Sarah brought old albums, and Mia's uncle shared tales of her sister. The blending of their worlds felt right. Lucas designed a mural for the bakery, a forest scene that drew customers. Mia's baking flourished, her joy infectious. They were building a life, not just a relationship. Mia pushed Lucas to face his fears fully. He wrote a letter to his father, forgiving him for leaving. It was cathartic, freeing him from old pain. Mia read it, tears in her eyes. "You're stronger than you know," she said. Lucas knew she was right. The bungalow became their haven, a place of love and growth. They started a community baking class, teaching kids to make bread. The laughter and flour-dusted faces reminded Lucas of the joy he'd missed. He was no longer the man hiding in bars, he was home. As Christmas neared, Lucas planned a surprise. He'd designed a ring, a silver band with a forest green stone, symbolizing their journey. On Christmas Eve, he took Mia to the forest, now their sanctuary. Under a starry sky, he knelt, his voice steady. "Mia, you taught me to choose love over fear. You're my home, my everything. Will you marry me?" Mia's eyes shimmered as she said, "Yes." They kissed, the cold fading in their warmth. The next day, they joined Lucas's family, sharing the news. Sarah cried, Nate cheered, and the kids danced. Christmas was a celebration of love, not loss. The dinner was joyful, with stories and laughter. Lucas saw his family anew, their bond stronger for its scars. Mia leaned over, whispering, "This is our story." Lucas squeezed her hand, grateful. Christmas was no longer a reminder of pain but a promise of hope, a testament to the life they were building together. A year later, Lucas and Mia were married in the bungalow's garden, surrounded by family and friends. The air was filled with music and the scent of fresh bread. Lucas's photos lined the bakery, and Mia's paintings brightened their home. They hosted Christmas together, the bungalow alive with love. Sarah shared stories of Lucas as a boy, and Nate's kids hung ornaments. Mia taught everyone her sister's cookie recipe, keeping her memory alive. Lucas watched, his heart full. He'd once feared Christmas, but now it was a celebration of everything he'd gained. That night, on the porch, Lucas and Mia sat under a blanket, biscuit at their feet. The wind chimes sang, a soft melody of their journey. "Thank you for seeing me," Lucas said, kissing her. Mia smiled. "We saw each other." Their story, born from a cold night and a stranger's kindness, was a testament to love's power to heal. Lucas knew the past would always be part of him, but it no longer held him back. With Mia, his family, and a home full of light, he'd found the true spirit of Christmas, connection, forgiveness, and the courage to begin again.